We have a couple guys that I've known for my entire life. I got my dear brother, John.
Good morning.
Sorry about that. I had a little cough there. And then we've also got Brian here, too. So we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the different election protocols from the last couple of years. John's got a really interesting concept, a really interesting idea in regards to how we can change up the whole idea of elections.
And that's what I've been looking over with the email and with the information that you sent over. And good morning, guys.
Good morning, Greg.
Welcome. I've been looking over some of this, and this is election integrity. And some of this stuff is just, we all know about it. We all hear about it after elections, before elections, with stuff that's going on. And this is something that y'all sat down and started chatting with and came up with a solution. And this is amazing. Tell us a little bit about what you guys have come up with here.
Well, this all kind of started, at least the active thought process on this started during the 2016 presidential election. There was just an awful lot of vitriol that surrounded it. And unlike a lot of the elections in the past where it died down after about 6 months, it just continued on and on and on and on, and seems to have become sort of the standard for American elections, is constantly questioning and arguing the results of elections, and nobody wants to concede. Nobody wants to accept the idea that they may not have won.
Right, and also with the Russian interference with the 2016,
yes,
we heard about and 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 heard about.
Exactly. And the second and third order effects of this is just ongoing contention between people on opposite sides of the political spectrum that never goes away, and it becomes just part of your everyday life. So it's not just something that's isolated in election cycles. It just goes on constantly.
And so you said, what can we do to fix this? Because that's a big hill to climb.
Well, this was really born out of frustrations that I and many of my friends shared. And I spent 31 years in the Army. And so most of my friends, as it happens, are former Army guys. And our concern was the ongoing strife, not necessarily who won or lost, but the fact that it was so contentious all the time. And so at some point we decided, let's start looking deeply into this. And so the idea of bringing voting to a computer platform where everybody can get to it, that's not what came to us first. We started out by trying to identify what the ideal would be.
Okay.
So what is it that makes an election what an election should be? And so we tossed this around for a couple of weeks, and we finally settled on three basic areas, three elements that make an election work. The first is accessibility. With accessibility, any legal voter should have uncomplicated access to cast their legal vote and have it properly counted without it being complicated and difficult to deal with. There should be no unreasonable difficulty there. The second point was security. The components of security would be protection and privacy. Protection is being safe from any kind of physical harm or intimidation, and the safety of knowing that your vote is going where it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to go, unmolested, and privacy. Ever since the Australian ballot came in the mid-1840s, people have a right to privacy in their vote. If you cast a vote, you're the only one who needs to know who you voted for.
I think with us being in Leon County, that we're kind of spoiled here because we have the gold standard here with our local elected officials with that. But then we look around throughout the country, we look at throughout even our state, and it isn't the same in our state. I know a lot of people look towards us. Well, ever since 2000, that Tallahassee became as the political center after an election, but with what we have here is not the same. And so when you mentioned all that stuff, nothing Leon County popped into my head. But as far as other places, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, this popped in all three of those that you mentioned, were something that are of great concern.
I've actually only gotten through two of them.
Oh, that's right.
There's one more.
As I was looking at the list of the top three.
That's my brother.
So the third one.
Okay, well, in addition to accessibility, which I think everybody agrees upon, and security, which certainly makes sense, you've also got to think in terms of confidence. Because even where election integrity is not an issue, the perception of election integrity continues to be an issue. So confidence is something that's very important. Now, confidence is going to be a combination of auditability, transparency, and reliability. Auditability is defined as the ability to clearly see from where the vote is cast to where it's tabulated, both forensically and in real time, and to have a real artifact at the end of the voting transaction to make sure that it can be documented very clearly, this is how this person voted, without giving away that person's privacy. Transparency is about the vote being cast and tabulated in a way that is clearly understood and legally defined, and there's no wiggle room there. So
As we go back
exactly
to the hanging Chad of 2000.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, reliability. The count has got to be complete. It's got to be accurate, and it's got to be trustworthy. And so that's kind of the nirvana. If you can get to where you have accessibility under the definition that I just laid down, if you can have security under the definition that I just laid down, and you can have confidence under the definition that I just laid down, then we're moving politics from the courtroom and incendiary street rage back into the arena of ideas where it belongs.
That sounds just like such a common sense approach to it.
Well, we like to think so.
And it just seemed, but then you look back and then as you talked about with Martin Van Buren, you talked about, and then also with Cleveland, that some of the elections that have been out there, there's been just tons of fraud that was in there. And then so the voter confidence of the American public has been away for a long, long time. And then with the perceptions of 2016 and still with 2020, what we're still listening to with friends of ours, going out and saying that was not accurate, and that it just seems that everybody would want to be behind this no matter who they voted for in the last election.
Well, sure. And it's not just that election fraud has run rampant in the United States and we're no better than a banana republic. Whenever this comes up, efforts have been made to address it. After you mentioned the election of Van Buren running against Harrison, as a result of perceived voter fraud, the Election Act of 1845 actually came about as a result of that. And every time this happens, there's an attempt at a legal remedy to try to fix it. The problem is that the legal remedy doesn't always actually address the real problem. Mm-hmm. And so this is a little bit different in that we didn't start with, we had the solution, so let's try to make the problem fit the solution. We spent a lot of time on problem definition. After we established what the ideal was, this is how it should be with regard to accessibility, security, and confidence. Then we took a look at the things that had the potential to undermine those three things so that when we built a solution to actually address those things. In this case, we used research done by the Heritage Foundation. Okay. And the Heritage Foundation identified 9 established ways of messing with elections. And I have it here in front of me. If it's okay, I'd like to run through
let's go through those. Yeah, let's go through those.
See, some of them sound...
Hold on, your brother's cutting us off.
Oh. Yeah, we got to go to a quick break, but when we get back, we'll get right into that, okay?
That's Southeast Portable Buildings. He has 10 Tally Award wins, 6 Best of Tallahassee Awards, and 0 Chili Cook-Off wins. He is your loser host, Greg Tish.
Is there a problem?
Yes, you played that one right. Sponsor Stuff Hour, Southeast Portable Buildings. If you're looking for more space or you're looking for just space to stretch out, Southeast Portable Buildings has every possible option for you. Give them a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400. Visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com or jump on the Facebook and check out Southeast Portable Buildings and all the fabulous buildings that they have. All right, Matt.
Yes.
Who we got in? We're going to let Matt do a little, because he never does anything. He's the laziest producer ever.
I sit around doing nothing
except
really
make good
here.
chili. So,
yes, that's true. That's very true. No, today we've got a couple of great guys. One that I've known my entire life. The other I just recently met. This is my brother John and his partner Brian. And we're going to be talking a little bit about doing some different election changes. Some big changes coming up in the future.
We are. Now we're going to go over 9 things that the Heritage Foundation has come up with that this is what could potentially go wrong.
Yes,
with elections.
Indeed. Quickly Resynced, the working group that I put together with my friends over the past year had established that ideally an election should ensure that everybody has full accessibility, full security, and full confidence in the outcomes. And so once we'd established that, we started looking around to figure out, all right, what are the things that have the potential to destabilize this? And so we used research from the Heritage Foundation, who had identified 9 established ways of destabilizing or committing election fraud.
We'll go through those real quick.
Absolutely. The first one is impersonation fraud at the polls. And that is voting in the name of other legitimate voters and voters who have died, moved away, or lost their right to vote because they are felons but remain registered.
Chicago Democrats, 1960s. Not to pick on any party, but Chicago Democrats, 1960s.
The second one is false registrations. That's voting under fraudulent voter registrations that either use a phony name or a real or fake address, or claim residence in a particular jurisdiction where the registered voter does not actually live and is not entitled to vote. There's duplicate voting, which is registering in multiple locations and voting in the same election in more than one jurisdiction or state, which was actually the triggering event for the Election Day Act of 1845. There's buying votes, which is where you pay voters or bribe them to cast either an in-person or absentee ballot for a particular candidate. There is illegal assistance at the polls, which is forcing or intimidating voters, particularly the elderly, disabled, illiterate, and those for whom English is a second language, to vote for particular candidates while supposedly providing them with assistance. There's ineligible voting, which is illegal registration and voting by individuals who are not U.S. citizens, who are convicted felons, or are otherwise not eligible to vote. There's altering the vote count, which is changing the actual vote count either in a precinct or at the central location where votes are counted. And finally, ballot petition fraud, which is forging the signatures of registered voters on ballot petitions that have to be filed with election officials in some states for candidates or issues to be listed on the official ballot. Now, that's a lot of stuff that has the potential to go wrong. And so as we're going through our mental gymnastics trying to figure out how to address all this stuff, one of the epiphanies that we came to is that there are 9 different ways that are clearly established. There are lots more that are not clearly established. And so the goal of trying to stop election fraud is probably not realistic.
So what is one of the things? What is precision voting systems?
So precision voting systems is kind of a combination of a lot of best practices from the tech space for a long time. So my background is in mission critical infrastructure, so big stuff. So we've taken everything we've learned over the years from creating big infrastructures and doing transformations and created the world's first cloud-based voting system that is basically a big old calculator online. That's it'd be like arguing with a calculator if you try to argue the results. That said, it is a software as a service type of platform. So it's an app that resides on your phone. And one of the things that I may have added to this list, we had 3, I might have added familiarity. So one of the things about this is if you know how to use a smartphone, you know how to use the system. If you know how to use a computer, you know how to use a system. You can use a phone, you can use a system. So there is no reason for anybody to have any lack of accessibility in this. So it is a cloud app, and it's also built on a platform. Well, we run the platform, we've designed the platform, and on top of that, we're backing that up with actual data centers, hard brick and mortar data centers. So if you can hack the app, good luck, we'll ghost. You've got a platform. If you hack that, wow, you're awesome. Good luck still finding that needle in the haystack. But if you hack a data center, you've been at it for a long time. So it's something that's easy to use, and it's a combination of best practice in the cloud space over a number of years.
So with the cloud space and everything, then with transparency, a lot of people that may not be familiar with computers or may not have this, they're saying, that doesn't sound right, because you think back to, what was the movie with Robin Williams?
The movie with Robin Williams?
Where he became president?
Oh, wow.
Because they'd hacked into the voting system.
Holy cow.
And then,
I don't remember
the name of that movie.
President Me or something like that. No
idea.
I can't remember that one. I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
But to show confidence, how would you show like the layman the confidence in the app and in the system when you say, like hack proof? That just seems like that's a big word.
Yeah, we certainly wouldn't say it's hack proof. Nothing's hack proof because state actors get in on that game at that point. However, the nerds we have engaged on this are best of breed. So our staff is actually comic book, cartoon character, skill level credentials.
Oh, wow.
So it's an infrastructure that if someone's to hack this, we're going to send you a text the morning of election day, and that this app is going to exist on your phone or your device long enough for 12 hours of voting to have passed. So someone's going to have to find a profile, manage to crack the business logic, and then still get into that profile, that person's profile. And you've got to know what their MAC address was. There's a lot of technical nerd things going on there that you're not going to know. So if someone's trying to hack you at the exact moment you're voting, we'll ghost it and put you on a completely different network. If you've hacked our platform, we'll go to a different cloud.
This is just something moving forward.
Yes.
Since, when the way that we vote is just antiquated.
That's it.
I mean, I love going down, but also if I had that option because I couldn't go down, just say I live in, Colorado Springs and it's just pouring down snow, and to be able to use something to be able to go out and use my right would be something. But that can seem like that could be a hard sell.
Well, sometimes it can be a hard sell because it's new. I mean, one of the aha moments that we had was, well, people are comfortable using an ATM machine. So this is actually, it's kind of a new stretch on that. This is something people are familiar with. It's not a shocker. If you voted for one of these talent shows on television, you do a very similar thing. This is one of the nice things about this is while it is highly complex from a cybersecurity standpoint, it's extremely simple to use. It's literally like a calculator.
Let me frame a comment you made just a second ago, right? You talked about being in Colorado and it's raining like crazy. What if you actually live in Florida? And on election day, you happen to be in Colorado. Well, guess what? You can still vote.
Yep.
I like that. So we don't have to worry about, getting the absentee ballot to come find you and then getting the absentee ballot having to go back. And then what we've all been seeing with those ballots just showing up in places where they don't belong. Oh, we see that every election. We hear about something with I'm not throwing the Postal Service under the bus. My dad worked there. But we always see something every single election cycle that, then 20,000 ballots were found in a dumpster, outside of, somewhere in Wisconsin. So that's all done with.
Correct.
It just seems, again, common sense.
It is.
And here's the additional ramification there. You're in Colorado, you live in Florida, you can vote. You're in Iraq, you live in Colorado, you can vote.
Still vote. Secure.
You're visiting Great Britain on election day. You can still vote because all of this is done via the application and it's totally secure. Now, we do use data centers that are in the United States because we're not interested in any questions about jurisdiction. We won't injunct anybody who wants to see the results. But to attach some layman's numbers to this, we're using 80 data centers across the United States. Each of those data centers have between 30 and 80,000 physical servers.
Oh, wow.
Each of those servers can generate up to 500 virtual servers.
Oh, wow.
So if an attempt is made to hack into the application, the chances of even finding it are about 1 in 3 billion.
Oh, wow.
And if you do happen to find it, it goes immediately. So your ability to compress your activity hard enough to be able to hack into it is infinitesimal.
If people want more information on this, we're up against the clock. How can they find out more information about this?
Facebook.com/Stratum0.
Oh, that is awesome. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. You got to come back. We could do an entire show on this. This was fascinating.
Can I stay at your house, man?
Now for the beer.
Amazed at the number of